Welcome to ES Ascension News. I'm Lisa Renee, your Ascension Guide. Revealing the Impostor. Dear Ascending Family, our planet is undergoing an incredible quantum event within the energetic fields as the collective consciousness frequencies are reaching their divergence point. This necessitates the bifurcation of timelines. The bifurcation of time impacts the quantum reality, the unmanifested field potential, and the external impacts in the process of which energy manifests into physical matter. Everything we have known to be in our physical world is undergoing rapid shifting to reveal the impostor, spirit energy that has remained hidden inside our own bodies, minds, and perceptions. The impostor spirit is also synonymous with false light, dead energy, and unhealed negative ego architecture, having the authority over the direction of one's body, mind, and spirit. An impostor is defined as any entity or human being that is saying words or expressions or making representations that it does not embody, nor comprehend, nor behave or act in accordance with. An impostor spirit is the Luciferian or Satanic Spirit, which promotes false light authority and anti-life architecture through deception, lies of omission, manipulation with malice to promote intentional harm, death, or destruction in order to serve its own personal agenda. The planet and those sensing this shift transpiring now may experience intermittent flushes of fear, visions of phantom death or uncertainty in our future direction, all of which may feel unnerving. This is a time to remember we are safe in our spiritual connection while remaining vigilant at staying within our spiritual center, making the adjustments to stabilize our inner core as we continue to ride through these choppy waters. Many changes, alterations, dismantling, initiations, endings, and beginnings are all happening at the same time. What is occurring is beyond mental comprehension and awe-inspiring to witness, as the perfection of the universe is revealing itself through the rebalancing of energetic polarity. That which is the accurate energetic resonance of one's consciousness intentions will truly attract to its matched vibration, while that which is dissonant will fully repel itself away. What quality of vibrational thoughts we hold in our entire energetic being will return as an amplified blessing or painful backlash, depending on the inner integrity and authenticity of the being's totality of spoken words, actions, and behaviors. This makes superimposition over others, continual siphoning of others' energies for one's selfish motivation, much harder to accomplish in this changed terrain of the Krystal star host. This forces self-responsibility, energetic accountability for one's belief systems, and matching the integrity of actions based thereon. This stunning crossroads of change upon us is shifting our planet to reveal the impostor spirit energy that has been operating from behind the scenes as the false light systems in this dark age. Every single one of us on this planet has been greatly impacted and traumatized spiritually by this impostor energy, which is also used through the negative alien agenda that has masqueraded itself into our lives. We inherited this impostor spirit ancestrally, genetically, and historically, as the true origins and memories have been manipulated and hidden from the human race. Inner Armageddon dismantling. In physical matter and within our own bodies during this time, we may feel this stretching and splitting apart sensation, which may feel very harsh to our emotional body and heart space. Because the nature of the ego mind is mostly connected to the false light architecture, what is occurring is similar to the disintegration of the inner ego structures and its imposter spirit from continuing to block the higher heart complex. This is activating many people into spiritual initiation to align into their highest expression, resonant to that energetic state of heart-based being. There is a pushing and pulling between the lower mind internal structures and the higher heart intelligence, which may feel like an internal and external war over the body consciousness. The bifurcation of timelines is changing the reality bubbles, and as they are pushing and pulling apart space-time, where we all coexist, this may bring upon an inner Armageddon sensation or a relative phantom death experience. During this phantom death experience, we will be presented with choices to move into higher integrity alignment and be reborn into a new spiritual energy. This is occurring at the microcosm and macrocosm levels of reality. Additionally, the bifurcation inherently surfaces confusing feelings and unresolved projections between the masculine and feminine principles of energy. The polarity rebalancing may feel to be splitting apart the gender power centers inside our own bodies, and this may feel as a separation of internal energies. As we become aware of where the internal gender energy was split apart through the impostor spirit, without our previous conscious awareness, we are given the opportunity to merge, integrate, and heal these areas. Also, we may improve how we relate to the gender roles throughout our life by clearing imposter energy. In order to heal, integrate, and harmonize internal gender energies, we first break apart the core impostor spirit distortion in order to identify the source causation of its memories. For many, this will involve the third-dimensional, negative ego, false light architecture in the solar plexus, feeling abrasive, when against the fourth-dimensional and eighth-dimensional, feeling heart complex. This may manifest externally as power conflicts in relationships where there is a battle between forcing personal will, which places extreme opposing pressure in the receptivity centers of the heart and soul. However, we have a great opportunity to heal the rift of gender polarity, as well as recognize where that inner bifurcation existed when the imposter energy was inserted, so that we may merge back into wholeness through the unity platform. Some of us may not recognize the unity platform because this is a totally new experience while in a body. This action of healing gender polarity is synonymous with the override of the bi-wave forms, while merging into tri-wave or trinity forms. As we unite our inner gender polarity, our male and female, we unite with the trinity form, thus allowing our deeper heart connection to expand with the eternal God Source and inner Christos. This forces the eviction of the impostor spirit, and this may feel very strange or scary if one is not aware of the necessity of this purging. Keeping our mind focused on meditation or spiritually centering exercises, no matter where we find ourselves at this time, this is required to find the inner core and remain in energetic balance. Please continue to dedicate oneself to work with clearing negative ego tools and be open to deeply feel the process of emotional healing as we move through the phantom death energy transmutation. When we feel anxious, we can choose to shift and hold one's perspective to apply unconditional love and forgiveness to the now self and other selves. This is the requirement to achieve and maintain the state of inner peace and connection to spirit in the middle of this incredible chaos. Keep choosing love, harmlessness, compassion, and mercy for everyone and everything, while being as accurate and truthful with oneself by checking inner motivations. The planet's highest expression for those that choose this heroic pathway, the ascending timeline, is available and will stay available. The Krystal Star host is here to stay. False light of the false parent. This impostor spirit energy was inserted and imprinted as our false parent, and the spiritual betrayal we have experienced in our heart and soul due to this fact has been crushing for many. Because of the timeline of the impostor invasion, the false parent has manifested physically, ancestrally, genetically, and spiritually throughout our sense of identity. Without our true spiritual identity and being incarnated into an enslaved reality deception, humanity has existed in a severe identity crisis, unaware of its larger purpose, unaware of being interfered with in its inner source and spiritual connection. We were tricked into believing the impostor spirit's values and purpose was one of benevolence and love for humanity, when actually its overall hidden motivation is to enslave and harm us. We will see this revelation of the impostor spirit and false parent ripple throughout all aspects of our societal leadership, and we will need to be strong spiritually and within our own personal faith to be able to see the authentic truth. The impostor spirit has hid inside our schools, governments, hospitals, churches, careers, in the leadership, our family members, things we hold most sacred, and finally, even inside of us. We believed this false parent spirit loved us and cared for us, and we are seeing that that is not really true. The impostor spirit is not capable nor equipped to know true love or benevolence towards life, towards children, towards humanitarian values. Therefore, with this pattern surfacing, this is a hard and confusing time for humanity to reach this inner spiritual revelation in all areas and in all walks of life. There are general energetic qualities of the Luciferian Spirit and its archetypes that one will find driving the motivation of the negative ego false light system. The Luciferian attributes and its impostor spirit qualities are service to self, may cloak itself within the authority of false Father God archetypes to manipulate through domination and control, while shape-shifting its outward appearance in both physical genders. Siphons spiritual light and rapes the Mother's Holy Spirit through the feminine principle with vengeance and self-righteousness, while propping up a false spiritual parent of the Mother to the masses. Through the false parent archetypes, it can only use the negative ego construct to produce false spiritual light for its temporary creations. False light is temporary and has to be consistently replenished through stealing or vampirizing from others' inner resources of light. It primarily covets the Mother's Holy Spirit and therefore is misogynistic, holds hatred and disdain for the power of the Mother's spiritual principle, and resents and blames her son, Krystal, for his position, and therefore has crucified him and her. has a superior, hierarchical, and elitist mental body system that tricks it to believe its position or abilities are higher than it really is. It is self-entitled. Deception, manipulation, and vampirism of others are its theme to survival, within promoting chaos, confusion, and ambiguity. Self-aggrandizement of its personal leadership role through its own negative ego compels it to abuse power and authority, believing the innocent are stupid and to be led deceptively and controlled. Promotes false hierarchy for domination and control through the promotion of hive mind mentality. The hive mind is the mind to carry out group orders and to not question authority. This spirit becomes hostile and violent when its authority or power is questioned. It uses inner and outer violence to promote its agenda and will sacrifice others easily for its own selfish motivation. Skillful to use manipulation techniques to avoid transparency, accountability to action, which is to continually deceive others through a divide and conquer strategy. Uses biblical deception and salvation models to promote seed fears of Armageddon software and victim-victimizer archetypes to target any development of unity consciousness, includes the attacking and destroying of human values for achieving unconditional love and peace. Steals the access to paranormal ability or supraluminal intelligence in order to use astral glamour as the way to pretend or provide proof to the enslaved human in its display of its own superior intelligence and authority of those who serve the Luciferian false light system. This is the razzle and dazzle to create followers of the false light systems of the impostor spirit. In this way, the person who is astral hypnotized does not realize the same Luciferian spirit in that person is feeding the astral glamour and is actually being used as their own spiritual jailer and prison warden. This creates a reliance and dependency on the very thing that enslaves the person in the false light, which traps them without evolutionary possibility continued in the afterlife. In the coming months, we will further address anti-life and the death architecture of the Satanic Spirit, which also acts in the role as an impostor spirit. Without inner connection to life force and an awareness of the importance of the spiritual purpose in life, only digression, descension, and genetic deterioration is made possible. This genetic deterioration is inherently the disconnection from the eternal God Source, and this manifests as extreme pain and suffering. This is the time we must open our eyes to see the impostor spirit energy. In all ways, it has infiltrated our life and ourselves. We will see how the impostor spirit constructed the false umbilicus connection to serve the false parent and to propagate its negative ego authority upon our body and mental consciousness. As we become willing to face this truth, we are set free. As the Aurora Mother returns now to rebuild her body parts on this earth, she is the ultimate protector of life. And through her Holy Spirit, we are reborn as her children in Christos. This is the time of benevolence and blessing for the truth lover and the truth seeker that has put their heart on the altar for God's Spirit. This shift begins an unraveling inner and outer dialogue to honor authentic transparency, which is the spiritual alignment required to speak and act within integrity, and the ability to know the difference. Many of us at this time are undergoing extreme to painful spiritual lessons to increase our skill of respecting personal boundaries as well as others' boundaries in order to discern lessons of behavioral and spiritual integrity. Embodying integrity. Let's talk a moment why understanding the negative ego's polarity issues. The ego equals fear and the heart equals love. In every circumstance in one's life, this is a huge step towards spiritual maturity and embodying integrity. To overcome the impostor spirit energy from continuing to deceive our mind and inflict harm to our body, we must choose to act and behave in accordance to Christic attributes or God sovereign free behaviors. If we choose the authority of God's source and its spirit, Christos, but reflect actions and beliefs of the false light of negative ego, we remain in spiritual energetic stagnation. In this state of stagnation, we become confused and we feel abandoned. To learn how to embody inner integrity that is aligned naturally with one's inner source light, we must behave and model Christic behavior in the highest expression that we may dedicate ourselves. The more heart-based alignment and congruency we demonstrate with our actions, words, and behaviors, the more aligned we become to our inner source. When the inner spiritual balance is achieved through accessing the right words, right action, and right behaviors, we exist in total peace and contentment. The basic understanding is to strive for this spiritual goal of modeling and behaving within energetic integrity in all circumstances, which is the key to aligning to higher purpose and truth. As one dedicates to improve inner and outer energetic integrity, one greatly restores personal energetic discernment. This skill set guides us to re-educate our mind to release and to choose truthful, heart-based motivations for all things in one's life. Ego polarity is separation. The eternal God Source projects creation outward from its central point by polarizing the energetic spectrum of positive, negative, and neutral charge within itself. It projects consciousness intelligence into smaller and separate units as it descends into the spirals of time, containing lower and lower octaves of dimensionalization, just as a beautiful musical composition is written for life's soundtrack. The divine orchestration is created upon a musical scale of frequency notes, set into mathematical patterns that arrange a variation of light, sound, and color at all of the different levels of time and space within this divine orchestration, within each dimension, each planet, within each human being's light body. This same musical pattern is permeated and repeated throughout the universe. All of these levels of creation are interconnected and interactive, as ultimately the consciousness intelligence flows back into the central point of union with the eternal God Source. As such, we would not regard energetic polarity as something inherently negative if we understood it's fundamentally in all of creation, as it is the natural creative process through polarization and integration. Since we deal with issues of polarity every day, such as reconciling gender issues, how do we most effectively deal with the situation? When ego polarity is extremely amplified, it magnifies issues of separation from ourselves and God's Source. And this separation from others is what creates negative ego issues of judgment and conflict. As we feed negative ego programs, we become enmeshed in a delusion of false light that is created from our lower mental projections. These false light programs are used by the archontic entities, the Impostor Spirit, that trap us inside our own delusions, which make us feel very disconnected and unhappy. To be effective, one must generally agree that one must find that place of inner light, unity, and commit to live within integrity inside ourselves. Living within integrity is to embody what we say, to live as we represent ourselves through our behaviors, our words, and our actions. To accomplish this, one must dedicate to self-integrate back into the God Source consciousness, to reflect the God Source attributes, and this is our personal level of responsibility to spiritual maturity. This is the first point of spiritual alignment in choosing one's authority, first and foremost, as represented as the direct connection to the eternal God Source. If that is not understood nor acted upon by the free will of the being, this is the fundamental block of actualizing one's inner integrity to be aligned to the God Source. The most common block is self-delusion, which propagates a state of denial at facing inner conflicts or resolving external problems. When we continually ignore our personal ego issues, when we continually refuse to look at what is happening all around us, we distort our inner and outer energetic integrity. Facing our problems. So when we have a problem or an issue that comes up in our daily life, do we deny the problem exists? Do we detach from it as a state of reality by calling it an illusion and hope it goes away? Do we feel comfortable in the victim role and blame another person and make it their fault? Or do we understand that the problem, in its larger context, is how the opposing forces of polarities work, so that we can effectively deal and face it? This means that taking responsibility for oneself is critical in order to find the right resolution to every problem. As an example, maybe one is driving their car and gets a flat tire. How would you deal with this? One could say it's all illusion, and that this is really not happening, and try to fix the flat tire with one's mind. Or one could face the problem in the moment with calm acceptance at the circumstances, change the tire yourself or call road service, and then continue to resume driving. Another example is that maybe one hears of someone relaying a frightening story about their UFO abduction. This sounds upsetting, so some people react aggressively and say how crazy or stupid that person is who told the story, further continuing to accuse the person of lying and calling the story a hoax, even if they have not researched the facts. Does it make sense to you that just because some people do not believe this to be true, and yet it still impacts thousands of people on this earth, that one's hostility is being used to deliberately mind control them, and so to not face or deal with the problem? If one ignores that problem, whether one believes it or not, does it go away? Do you care that there are aliens or government personnel abducting people on Earth? What if your child was abducted? Why not go ask the thousands of UFO abductees yourself and find out firsthand so that you can make an informed decision on the matter? When we continually ignore something, or we delude ourselves that we hold a higher vibration and that's why we cannot participate with that problem, we then become a part of the cover-up. That cover-up deceives the population to be accomplices in the promotion of manipulation that is intended to harm the rest of the humans and to harm the planet. We could say in a practical context, if we deny that the problem exists, we also deny the possibility of finding the solution. When we try to uncreate the problem through denying its existence or ignoring it completely, we only allow the problem to go unresolved and further build momentum for predators. Many times when we refuse to face a problem, it builds energy on resistance, and it gets much worse. When we actually face the problem and bring our focus and attention to it, we are not reinforcing the problem. We are willing to face the problem by being willing to find the resolution. The problem already has presented itself to you. It's already there. It's manifested. To be effective addressing or engaging with the problem at hand is generally a positive strategy in contrast to the denial of the problem. Regarding problems in life as illusions or vibrational mismatches does not necessarily resolve the problem. Generally, ignoring the problem makes it much worse. This is similar to saying, as we ignore this problem, that one accepts the increasing millions of children being raped on Earth because the vibrational match makes it the child's karma. That child is our future, and who is responsible for shaping its values, for protecting them? Now take these practical examples into the larger picture of the current world scenario and take note of its many various conflicts. It is absolutely certain we all would like to observe something else happening on Earth. Many would prefer to live in a beautiful paradise of everyone's creative expression with total freedom from debt and total freedom of all levels of slavery. We would like to forget there are unpleasant things happening around us, and we may even want to get away from it all and go back home. However, there is a part of us on Earth, a part of our collective creation that is really blocked, that is really suffering, that is really tortured in this density. There is a part of us impacted and affected, even sometimes trapped by the false light dramas that play out in the world, that play out in our human family, with our loved ones, and our personal circle of friends and community. We cannot afford to deny or ignore this fact any longer. Gaining clarity in the knowledge or accurate awareness of these larger truths in the worldscape is not in itself separation. We can be in our spiritual integrity. We can be aligned to our inner source and be very much aware of the detail of what is actually going on around us. Bringing attention to this detailed awareness and knowing about it does not promote separation or negative ego polarity thinking. It is in how we address the problem, either with ego or either with heart-based sincerity, and that we are willing to be of service to face our problems, to deal with it. This act of being willing to know is of great service to this planet, to humanity, and to all of the earth kingdoms. Solutions without attachment. If we focus on problems in the neutral context of intending solutions for all involved, it removes the underlying blockage created by negative ego and false light polarity issues. Greater knowledge and greater awareness should not motivate fear, but be understood as a base for creating effective solutions and informed action in one's life. Knowledge and accurate assessment is the basis to return one back to the stepping stones to resolve the problem back into alignment with greater integrity. When we deny the problem from existence, we separate the problem from a solution. If we can come into a place of embodying inner energetic integrity, the responsibility to self-source and energetic containment as supported with the 12D shielding exercise, we can face problems. We can embrace them in order to bring solutions through the mirrored alignment to that reflection that we make with outer energetic integrity. We do not need to know the exact pathway to the solutions, only the higher consciousness to hold compassionate witnessing, to observe the problem honestly, accurately, without attachments to the outcome. When we are called to action on a problem, we check for its energetic integrity and alignment to our inner source. Accepting as it is now. We all know and respect the humans who may believe or state that they are beyond polarity. Before we can regard ourselves as beyond polarity, we need to address the following inner questions. Can I consciously integrate my whole spiritual being and physical body back into the eternal source light here and now? Can I ascend my being through the dimensional structure of creation, going beyond holographic reality right now? Am I completely unaffected by the world events, free from money, free from seeing wars and genocide and starving peoples? Do I see a created paradise around me? If one cannot do these things, one is not beyond polarity. Until that time, there is a part of you in the collective that is trapped in polarity from various distortions that have transpired in the natural and unnatural processes of the timelines of creation. One has to ask oneself if we can afford to deny or be ignorant of these collective circumstances that are happening during this important cycle of end times. It is accurate that we have higher parts of identity, of which some are beyond polarity. It is our lower parts of identity, such as our humanness, that needs our focused attention. It is our body consciousness as a human being that is in the most need of rehabilitation and spiritual healing. If we detach from the physical realities of our own body, and we detach from what is actually happening on the planet and the negative alien agendas that we are all enmeshed and a part of, we risk losing a valuable part of our humanness and many levels of that human identity. This timeline is not about ego judgment at any level anymore. It is not about blaming or assigning values of good or bad. This time is about being real, being authentic, and being human, and learning to be energetically resonant and in effective heart-based action from being informed, awake, and aware. We have to get clear about what is working and what is not working so we can bring ourselves back into integrity and alignment with our eternal God Source in every way we are able. The core of our own energetic sustainability, our ability to effectively take responsibility for ourselves and our evolutionary direction, hinges exactly on this specific knowledge. To achieve this, we must learn to comprehend the spectrum of negative ego polarity and negative ego filters, which are used through the impostor spirit that we are all exposed. The core of our ability to maintain a state of unity with each other depends on our level of personal, energetic sustainability as it achieves integrity and coherence with one's inner source light. If one does not embody inner integrity, if one cannot recognize integrity through discernment, then one will look to depend on someone outside and will energetically feed off of something externally. When one feeds off or uses someone else or something external to reinforce negative ego false light systems, one becomes parasitic. Simultaneously, through parasitism, that person is using the impostor spirit and intruding upon the energetic boundaries of other human beings' right to exist. If one does not respect others' boundaries and refuses to own their own emotional needs or mental issues of judgment, one will be unable to create mutuality or unable to create effective solutions in any setting. If others need to make you wrong, recognize the ego game of non-acceptance and refrain from engaging. No person needs to justify one's existence to others, and they do not have to justify their existence to you. Am I trying to make someone wrong or assign value of importance? Is someone trying to make me wrong or devalued through non-acceptance? Are we respecting each other's boundaries and right to exist and accept who we are? Can I engage the circumstance with effective right action, acceptance, and without using the ego? Additionally, holding group unity and acceptance does not mean we allow factual, unethical behavior of any fragmented person, place, or thing to intentionally direct darkness, commit deception, or inflict harm, or allow their disconnected state the power to destroy our heart or spiritual purpose. In protecting our inner spiritual light, we defend our right to exist, as we intend to be in coexistence and in a state of total harmlessness to oneself and harmlessness to others. We demonstrate this by embodying spiritual integrity and aligning our actions, words, and behaviors to the matching heart vibration. This is the call to improvement of this spiritual practice of integrity in every area of our lives, and especially in the group setting. In repeating the core message to communicate to our spiritual ascension communities and lightworkers, command and claim your personal space and body no matter what. Claim your sovereignty. Claim and own your freedom. Know that you are one with the eternal light of God. Read the impostor spirit its rights. Force it to choose when it infringes on your right to exist as a God sovereign free or GSF being. Nothing can or will possess you or take this away from you when you know yourself as this truth. In order to create a loving, compassionate field for all to grow within, may each of us deliberately step up our spiritual dedication to remove deception, lying, manipulation, and ego-based agendas from harming each other. May we grow our heart purity and so that we can model ethical conduct and energetic integrity for the many spiritual and light communities who may not understand nor comprehend the reason why ethical standards of behavioral integrity are required in spiritual community and its leadership that has energetic influence over others. Until next, stay in the luminosity of your avatar Christ heart path. Please be kind to yourself and kind to each other. As God Sovereign Free signing off with a loving heart, thank you so much.